I was just sent something incredibly disturbing, and to be honest with you, since I've heard it, it's just really disturbing. I've really been struggling. It is the clearest, most enhanced version of the audio call, the audio SeaTow call that was released by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. This is unlike anything I'd heard before. Someone reached out to me and sent it to me. I have verified that this person is who they say they are. They're an audio engineer with 20 years experience. They do not want me to share their name. I do know who their name is. I do know exactly who this person is. I don't know them personally, but I was able to confirm that they are who they say they are. And what is coming out in this audio, it's really disturbing. So I'm going to play that audio for you, and I'll let you come to your conclusions as to what you hear and what it means. I heard it, and it is disturbing, but I'm gonna play it for you and let you come to your own conclusions of what you hear and what it means. But before I play it, I want to read something to you that came directly from the person who created this audio. I spent some time with them on the phone today just to make sure that they're actually a credible source to do this. And in that conversation, I asked him, what did you do that's different from what other people have done to make the quality of this audio better? Because I wanted it to be credible, and this person explained to me in writing what they did. So I'm gonna read to you their explanation, and then I'm gonna play this audio. Trigger warning. I'm gonna play this audio so you can hear it and come to your own conclusions. But first, it's kind of a long explanation, so bear with me. I'm gonna read this explanation that they give, and then I'm going to play the audio for you and let you come to your own conclusions. So here's what he wrote. I am a professional audio engineer with over 20 years of experience. When I first reviewed the audio file, I realized that when I had on headphones that the dispatcher's voice was only playing on one side of the headphones, and the caller's voice and their background were on the other side of the headphones instead of everything playing on both sides like with normal music. It sounds like the agency uses either a gate or compressor or both, because the volume naturally goes quiet when there's no one speaking, but it's still able to record audio because the gate threshold isn't set lower to allow no audio when no one is speaking. This also means that the noise in the caller's background was loud enough to engage the gate to all this audio to be recorded, even when the caller is not speaking. This is actually the best way to capture phone calls for quality assurance. What this means is that you can hear the caller's audio and the background noises all on one side. So using the caller's audio as a starting point, this will produce something similar to Janetta's outstanding results, which I have repeated and can confirm that it's authentic. Additionally, when you listen to the call, there are a few instances where the dispatcher is talking and there's lots of noise coming through from the caller's return audio. Meaning, even though he's not speaking, whatever is loud enough on his end to be heard and gets recorded along with the dispatcher. What I have done differently was to focus channel 1, the dispatcher, and then selected any areas that I heard more noises than just the dispatcher. When I worked on raising the volume in these areas by applying gain, which is essentially raising the volume, this worked in areas where visibility, no audio can be seen. But the audio is actually there but doesn't show up visually until you raise the volume. I did this individually on any area that looked blank. And I also applied this to areas that were simply low in volume, essentially making everything near the same volume level. Doing this reveals more of what was actually recorded. Absolutely no AI was used. Only normalize and gain was applied via iZotope RX. Not sure what that is. I'm not an audio engineer, but iZotope RX. No other tools were used. All basic audio programs have these two functions, and it doesn't falsely manipulate anything. It just raises the volume level. Now I have applied lots of gain because the voices are sometimes faint. So when more aggressive gain is applied, you start to hear the syllables in the words a lot better. Visually, the final audio file looks like what we would call as engineers too hot. But this isn't a regular recording. It's from a telephone, which only has a limited spectrum of sound. Normal audio, like from a lavalier or podcast mic, would not be able to withstand this amount of gain. This is something I learned when engineering music for major labels. Now, I primarily engineer audio for TV commercials, city and state initiatives, as well as podcasts and interviews. I also do videography to keep the lights on. In my opinion, the clips are still noisy and a lot more can be pulled out, but the intent was to prove these pieces of audio exist. I don't want any reward. I'm not curating an audience. I'm just rattled after taking the initiative to see what I could do and finding what is unimaginable. I was already nearly done with the entire call when Janetta released her work. And respectfully, I fell back because I had already released a few short clips. However, after Janetta's backlash, I decided to publish my full version of the call. I initially called Ben Crump's office before releasing a single piece of audio, but after a few days with no response, I decided to go at it alone and started releasing short clips and eventually the entire call. When I went back and I started refining my work because I realized I missed a few areas where I did not apply gain and new voices and sounds appeared more clearly. This does take a while to go into each little part, but the result is something easier to listen to. It's not perfect, but I also know the law enforcement has a lot better forensic tools for audio isotope RX. Surprised they haven't done this already. So that's him explaining what he did. I'm now going to play that audio for you that came from him doing all the things I just read. Again, trigger warning. This was really, really jarring, but here's what he came up with when he cleaned up the audio in a different way, as I just explained in what he wrote.
All right, of course. How far is the water coming up, sir? Can you give me a description? Ankles? Hello?
Hey.
Yes, how far is the water coming up, sir?
It's coming up. We're just sinking. I don't know. Like we're going down.